morning and welcome back to Reaper Pro Tips with me, your host and Disembodied Hands, Quinny, Disembodied Fear, John, and all of you. Real interesting is one way to put it, Twisted Noma. Pain in the butt is the actual way to put it. Total pain in the butt. I probably will have to do the gold first because there's going to be so much of it. So much metal. But yeah, he's something all right. He's got a cape, and it's part of his little coat. Then he's got an outer coat. Then he's got an inner coat. He's got 3 layers, which is always a super pain to do, especially when they're overlapping in different places, different areas. So it's not like it's not like the cape is only on the back. It also comes up to the front to overlap the first layer, or the second layer, or some layer. I'm not sure. There's so much layer. So much layer, people. There's too much layer here. Too much layer cake. This mini is a layer cake. And layer cakes are painful to paint. Painful. But we will persevere and do whatever. He has a boar instead of an otter on his head. Personally, I feel like with it being an Ottersmark, he needs to have an otter. But apparently boars are the new otters. Also, sorry for the late start today. I did not sleep well last night, and my allergies are attacking. News at 10. Quinny, take your allergy pill. All right. I have Sophie out because I want to touch her up. She's rubbed off a bit. So I wanted to do some quick touch-ups and sign her before I put her on the To Go To Ron shelf. Yeah, I don't know what's in the air, but blah. And we were in AC last night, and I did not sleep well. I don't know what it was. Then again, I also came home from CrossFit and had a gelato bar. I made David share it with me. Made him. He ate most of it. But I had an emergency gelato frozen bar in the freezer, and it was emergency last night. So it was like 93, and it was very much in the 80s when I went to CrossFit. But I did it anyway, damn it. Because I'm just that devoted, or crazy, not sure which. All right, let's put away some of the crap that I don't need. And then let's grab our russet brown and our driftwood. We've got just a little bit of rub off. It's all on the wings. So I'll want to mix up my brown colors. And then we can talk about Dude. Actually, if you want to, you guys can toss out color ideas for Dude. Oop, I missed a spot. I need to go back and get his mold line. I cleaned him yesterday, but apparently I only did the outer mold line, and I totally forgot the one on the inside of the boot. But yeah, feel free to toss out color ideas, and if one resonates with me, I will adopt it. But he has a lot. We'll be using neutral, but I'll probably use either black or white as one of his colors. Probably black, because it'll make gold look better. I almost want to paint him as an old school Empire Games Workshop model. Just do the black and red with the gold. But I'm up for suggestions. Alright, I'm just going to use straight up paint while I'm doing these touch-ups, because since the model is slightly rubbed off, I want to use thick paint, if I can, to touch that up. Just a tiny bit of rub off you can see on the wings here, just because I had laid them on the table too much. But that's fine. They're not completely rubbed off either, so... Ah, I see. So you've got transatlantic dust. Sounds pretty special, Twisted Noma. I don't know, I just want to sleep tonight. It's like, I must get good sleep tonight. No ifs, ands, or buts. So I'm just going to take this full strength. I'm not even going to thin it. This is where Master Series being a thinner paint out of the bottle really helps you when you're doing touch-ups and you want maximum adhesion. To get maximum adhesion, you want to use the paint full strength. Now, once it starts to dry on the palette, or if you're on a wet palette, to thin down, then you've kind of lost your window. So move pretty quick. If you're in a well palette, you'll have probably a little bit more time, depending on the wetness of your wet palette. Again, always remember that you don't have to flood your wet palette to get use out of it. In fact, most times you're going to get better use out of it if you don't flood it, if you keep your wet palette relatively dry, because it'll keep your paint from watering down so much, especially using Master Series, which again is a slightly more fluid paint out of the gate. So if you add that to a wet palette and then you flood that wet palette with water, you're pretty much just asking for all that water you just put in the bottom of your well palette to come up and attack your paint and thin it down way beyond the point where it's useful to you, especially for something like this. Now, because I'm using thicker paint, I do have to rinse out my brush more often. It's going to dry in the brush tip more often. Side lexic. Nice. Nice, Turgeon. Got more editing done. I'm busting my way through the book. I'm really hoping to get... we have a party to go to up in Napa on Sunday, but I am hoping to get some editing done the rest of that day, even though I know it's going to be a huge disruption, and I have to make deviled eggs. I think I want to get some brown liner out because there is some more shading. This is a little choppy here. There's some shading that I could do. Since brown liner is useful everywhere, I am going to thin it just a little bit. I'm going to do a 5-to-1, I think. This bottle of brown liner is almost dead. Because there I'm not trying to necessarily do a touch-up over rubbed off paint. I'm actually trying to do a little bit of spot shading in a rough spot that I just noticed. Hey, Roger. Mix up my liner. Hey there, Laura. I'm learning all sorts of things about running that I never knew. Like never, ever, ever wear a cotton t-shirt for running any longer distance, especially if it's going to rain. So it's a good thing that I have workout shirts that are mostly nylon. And also, cotton socks are a bad idea. A very bad idea if you're running distance. I am not running distance. Not anytime soon, but you know. So I'm going to add just a tiny little bit of water into my paint on my palette, the browns, just to keep them... I'm adding it mostly around the edge. So you can do this. You can take some water and just kind of put it around the edge of your palette. And it will sit on the outside edge, and you can still paint with full strength paint at the middle of the well. And that helps to keep it from drying out around, because it starts to dry around the edges first. It's a little trick for when you're using full strength paint, like for touch-ups. And you want to keep it flexible. A little bit of lining. So once we finish all these touch-ups, then we can move over to Ottersmark guy. Alright, and I've got a little bit of rub off over here and here. I think I've got all these guys set though. And this actually looks like there's a little tab of material that I didn't take off when I first cleaned it. There we go. There's various fabrics that people use. Twistoma, bamboo derived being one of them. Mostly you just don't want to wear cotton, which is actually apparently why your marathon t-shirt is done in lighter material. Need to be a little bit thicker to get that area, I think. Now, apparently, if you're out in the rain, Splat, with a cotton t-shirt, for any length of time, you can actually, like, pretty much wear your skin bloody. Like, extreme unluck. Sweat plus rain plus prolonged exposure will actually, like, chafe, and it gets nasty. Things I am learning so that I can not make these mistakes as a newbie. But yeah, I was looking, apparently socks matter too. Because if you don't have socks that get the moisture pulled away from your skin, you get blisters. So yeah, all sorts of it. It turns out that gear is actually kind of important. I need a little bit more driftwood because I need to highlight here. But yeah, just interesting stuff that your body pulls on you when you try to run long distances if you don't have appropriate stuff. And of course, the stuff is mostly from the modern era, so when people were first running marathons, like, their feet got just, like, bloody. Because nobody had, like, high-tech socks or shoes in the 60s. And they didn't make women's shoes in the 60s at all, or 70s, I think. I don't remember when the first women's shoe pioneer was done. Yeah. That's cool, Splat. I didn't know you did marathons. I'm just starting running. I'm just a baby runner. Do you still run? I need to lighten up this top part because it's facing upward. There we go. I'm stalking a new sports watch. I've gotten too fed up with my Fitbit. The Fitbit will be what I have for the 5K, but I am planning to sock away money to buy a very nice new Garmin as soon as I can. Put some shadows in here. We've mostly dispensed, I think, with the rub off. I'm just kind of looking. Oh, there's a little bit up here. A little bit at the tips of the wings. Oh yeah. Yeah, knee replacement can put you behind for sure. Yeah, I am super slow right now, but I was actually getting faster, but then I realized I wasn't really training correctly when I did that. My heart rate is too high for it to be zone 2, so I need to go out. And that's why I want a new watch, because I need something that's a little more accurate to keep myself in the right zone for trying to build a base, even if it means being glacial for a while. Essentially, I can be glacial and keep running for a long time, or I can not be glacial and I can do the walk around. Two choices. Those are my two speeds right now. Alrighty, that looks good. We've got that. I think we've touched her up. I think she looks good. I'll sign her. I need a lighter color, so I'll grab some white. Yeah, that's exactly it. I usually, like, I've got a pretty conservative goal for myself for my first 5K. Like, if I can do 15-minute miles, which is very, very slow. If I can finish in or under 45 minutes, that would be lovely. I know if I walk, run it, I can. I'll hit that. You walk, run? Yeah. Yeah, I can do 40 seconds running and 30 seconds walking right now. That's where my favorite sweet spot is. But I want to do some slower training that's just running to see where my zone 2 is, see where I'm under lactate threshold, and because that's going to give me better returns down the road, I think, if I want to, increase the amount of time I'm running and not walking. Alright, let's do that. Right, exactly. It's slow. That's what I want. I want to kind of experience doing a 5K, see if I like it. I'm mostly running to lose weight because I've come to the point where diet alone won't do it, and CrossFit alone isn't doing it fast. So I knew I needed to throw in a higher end cardio or more sustained cardio training. Walking doesn't get my heart rate up enough. So now I'm really split though, guys. Like I have to make up goals for myself so that I can win prizes, because I really want to buy a hot tub this fall. I really want to buy the inflatable hot tub this fall. Once it starts to get a little cooler, it would be very nice to have that inflatable hot tub. But I feel like I need to earn it. I need to earn that present, because that's an expensive investment. But my 5K, I think my reward is going to be the new watch. So, and then I have to figure out another race I can do to keep myself motivated, I think. I think the races will help me keep motivated. As long as I have a good time, we'll see. It's a whole new world. It's important to figure out like what motivates you. This is true in mini painting as much as it is in exercise. Like lately I am practicing something I'm calling action without strings, where I don't allow my brain to sit and argue with me about what I'm doing or going to do or whine or do anything. I just do the thing. So I just start doing the thing and then I naturally do the thing. and I'm not judging myself about it at all. So it's like if I work on my PDF for Patreon like I did yesterday, but I don't finish it like I wanted to do yesterday, I'm not like stressing about it or giving myself a stern talking to. All I'm doing is shrugging and then doing it today. It's definitely a practice. It's definitely a process to start learning to do that, especially when I'm pretty self-critical and I stress easily. But as time goes on, it just feels so much better not to grump at myself and to understand that, you know, if I just go at my own pace, I'm going to get things done. Even if those things are not, you know, it's kind of action without strings is action without expectations. It's actions without stressing out. And it's helping me come back to the painting hobby without the negative emotions, without the stress, without the expectations, which is important if I'm going to love my hobby. But I've been using it for my writing, you know. It's like the book will come out when the book comes out. And I'm not going to stress. I'm not going to set a deadline. I'm just going to work on it as steadily as I can. There we go. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I would like to do eventually, Splat, if I keep with this, which I hope I will. I've never been a runner, but I've always kind of wanted to run. I've been jealous of those who can run. Mostly I just want to be able to run easily for long periods of time, which essentially was a pipe dream for me as a kid. I was so out of shape and I was so sedentary all through my grade school and high school and most of college. I didn't pick up my walking habit till after college. There we go. Dated and Sophied. There she is. All touched up. Touched up and labeled. Now she can go to Ron. Put her on the shelf that goes to Ron. There's quite a number of things on that shelf at this point. But yeah, mostly I want to use it to drop the rest of the weight. I didn't really peg him down. It's just fine because I need to remove this interior mold line that I missed when I was doing his cleaning yesterday after the stream. Trying to get that little bit of plastic off. But yeah, I was really good at getting all of the other stuff yesterday, but apparently I totally forgot to get this nasty mold line down the middle of this boot. I don't remember. He's a weebie. Do you know, Quindy, if he was a Reapercon? He might have been. I don't remember. Usually after if we get Reapercon swag, I just look through and grab the stuff I think will be fun to do on stream. That one looks good. It's a little bit to do on this one, and we can start. He's tagged with RuperCon 2022. Oh man, it's starting to heat up here back here already. I might need to go get my tiny fan. I think I'm gonna. I don't want to sit back here sweating. It's supposed to be slightly cooler than yesterday, but that just means it's going to hit 90 instead of 93. So 1 second, guys, while I go get my tiny fan, and then we'll start the His Natural French Friday. That's funny. I will not eat any. Sorry. Be right back. I grab tiny fan. Oof, CrossFit was just adding insult to injury last night. Tiny fan, tiny fan. Let me thread tiny fan around here. There we go. Trying not to make everything fall apart in my setup here. Pardon me. There we go. Tiny fan. Yeah, oh, that's so much better. So much better. It's amazing the difference just a little bit of airflow makes. That's nice, Laura. Yeah, good. Yay, busts. Busts are fun. Busts are fun because you don't have to worry about basing. And you only need to paint like the most important part of the figure. Alright, let's get our goo all pliable, and then we'll stick this guy down. I'm debating different color schemes for him. I feel like he's got like this central tunic. I feel like these extra like heavy flaps around his legs are not actually I feel like they're extra, and his main tunic is like through there, so I kind of might make these black. And I think the main tunic gets to be red. Sweet, green users. I mean, when in doubt, Splat, just paint it flat. And remember that you don't need to shade very much with a bust. And you don't need to do super smooth layering. You can use stippling, really fine stippling, to join your highlights, midtones, and shadows, because pores in the face mean that stippling is actually a better technique than like smooth blending for a lot of busts. You got to do it really like thinned, so that you get, you can not get a bunch of spots on your face, but it's, I mean, that's, Mr. Grumpy has that going on, because that's the way Kirill does it, unless he's painting a really young female. But if you look at Grumpy, let's see if we can get close enough. See the spots? Lots of spots. So stippling. You can see the stippling even onto the nose. Up here I had to do more blending because top of the head, right? Top of the head's pretty shiny. But stippling is totally doable. And if you don't want the spotty look, and then when you get the close-up, what you can do is stipple, but then put a glaze over everything. And the glaze will essentially blend together all those dots and make it look like you just blended it. Glazes are magic, and they're the one like core technique that like a lot of people like are not sure about using, but that would benefit the most people to learn. And to get comfortable with. Hello, Sancho. We are just starting a new model because we just finished. Where did I put her? I stuffed her back here. There she is. We just finished this one. And we're starting this guy. And I'm just trying to squish him down into this poster tack. Poster tack. Blah, 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 blah. But yeah, a lot of people like get all into the layering stuff, but to get really good blends, like glazing is your main tool. I don't even bother trying for smooth blends with layering anymore. I mean, I used to be able to like mostly do it, depending on the colors I was working with, but it took so long, and you still needed to glaze most of the time to get it smooth. So. But yeah, this guy is interesting. He's just got so much crap on him. All right. All right, well, I said red and black and white and gold. You guys have a particular red you want me to use? Any reds that stick out that you would like me to use on this model? That I haven't used lately? Or that I have used lately, it doesn't matter. If you don't, then I'll pick my own. I don't like them, so I don't use them, Zachariah. They have too much brown in them for me. They're my least favorite. Like, they're great for blood, which is what they're meant to do. And they're good for more muted reds. But, I don't know, maybe I'll just use blood red. I don't know, heraldic. Heraldic is probably closer to what we want, though. And I only just used a little bit of heraldic. Yeah, deep red is a dark one, though. I don't want to... Where's my... I think I do have deep red actually in my... Or maybe I put it away because dragon red is so close and better, in my opinion. Yeah, the thing is I don't have a lot. Deep red isn't necessarily where I would start this one. And the reason is that if I'm going for punchy, which I am, heraldic, right? Then I don't want to start darker, necessarily. Well, we're already doing that, though. We already did that. Like, I don't want to do the same thing that we've done before, and when we did this lady's red, we went for that really dark, deep, punchy, like, has a really dark shadow kind of thing going on. So I hate to just do, like, the same thing over and over. I don't know, maybe I'll just go here. Maybe I'll just go with heraldic. I'm going to add a tiny bit of dragon to it. Let's get away. Hey there, Richard. Fire red is very, very bright. You could still add a little bit of another color to it. Usually, you don't want to base coat in a really, really intense red. You want to add just a little bit of something. But I could highlight with fire. Fire red's one of my favorite because it's colder. It's a colder red. It's like a carmine. So I'm going to mostly use heraldic. I'm going to put 1 drop of dragon in there. Yeah, at this point I've kind of tuned my palette so that I keep only... I'd have to go digging, essentially, to find other reds. I really consider like blood and heraldic and fire to be everything you need as far as bright reds go. That and clear. Okay, so clear. But other than that, I just keep Asmodeus, Dragon, and Urgathoa around. Honestly, Dragon or Urgathoa added to any one of these reds is going to give you something equivalent or close to Deep Red. Deep Red is colder, so we don't want to base coat with something this bright because it will just really, really look bright. Although it won't look as bright over this gray as it would over a white primer. It's bright, but it's also cold. Like, that's the cool thing about Fire Red. It's not a warm red. It has a lot of magenta in it. So I'm just going to add a little bit of this Dragon Red, just to bring it down a notch. Yeah, fire is not warm, shocker. Yep. Well, I wanted a carmine, something that was closer to a Quina red, and I didn't have that pigment, so I had to attempt to create an equivalent hue with other pigments. Yeah, this is okay. You just don't want something super bright. This is more like a garnet red almost, although garnet is a little darker than this. But you want it just a little bit darker. If I have to mix a fire red, I can. And I've got a crooked camera again. There we go. Much better. Alright, so let's block in what I want to be red in this guy. Since I know a lot of it is going to be black and white, otherwise those are my other principal colors. Red is the main color, makes sense to put down first because it's the only really bright chroma color that we're going to be using. Everything else will be either neutrals or gold. So I've got to do this coat. And I'm just going to go right over all the filigree. Heraldic red, the other reason to use it is it's got pretty good coverage, all things considered. So this red should end up looking a lot brighter than our red on the rogue, on the half-orc rogue. Because we're laying it down first, we're not putting it over a darker color. That will usually give you more saturation. I'm just gonna, again, I'm gonna go over all this piping and stuff that'll probably be gold later. And I'm kind of looking, all right, there's red under there. Now I've got to look up here and kind of look at what I've got. It's hard to make out what some of this stuff is. Like some of it looks like, this looks like armor. It looks like he's got a gorget on, actually. And then the helm. And I'm going to make his plume red. That's a no-brainer. This is a little thicker than a standard base coat for me. I've done that because it's red. And I know that it's going to, if I thin it, it's going to want to break apart and not cover very well at all. So I'm going a 5-to-1 with this base coat, paint to water. Just a little thicker than I usually do. Snazzy. That is one way to start a model, Twistedoma. It's called painting from the inside out. Another way to do it is what I'm doing, which is choose a principal color and just paint everything that you think is going to be that principal color first. And painting from the inside out doesn't necessarily help you with color composition. That's the thing. It'll help you keep from painting over stuff because you get to do the recessed stuff first, so you don't have to worry about, you know, oopsing and splodging your paint over onto something else. But it doesn't help you so much work out color composition. And I think on a very intricate model like this, the chance that I'm going to screw up color composition is greater than the chance that I will accidentally, you know, slop some paint onto something that I would rather not. Another way to do this would be to take a picture of this guy and make it black and white, put it onto your iPad or whatever, and use a program like Procreate to color it really basically, just to work out what colors different parts of the model will be. David does that a lot. Here, I splooged onto that. Blorf. That's not a big deal. But yeah, as far as what you start and how you progress on a complicated model, that is up to you. Different people are going to have different strategies for dealing with it, but for me, color composition is the hardest thing. I'm going to make his inner shirt red as well. But yeah, so, I mean, really, it's just something that you have to experiment with to see which strategy for base coating a very complicated model works for you. And the problem is there's no red on this side because the armor plates are right there and he hasn't pulled his shoulder away. So we've just got black back here. I'm going to use black probably for this too, although I could quarter it. I think I'm gonna. Also, this little line, the edge line didn't cast on the other side, so I need to kind of sketch that in real quick. I can see where it was supposed to be. There's a little riser there. It just didn't quite take. So it's supposed to be there. If you have an iPhone, it's super easy. My phone's in the other room. But yeah, it's one of the filters you can put on when you edit a photo. I would show you how to do it right here at Twistedoma, except that I, of course, chose to leave my phone in the other room today. But I'm sure your son can show you. Personally, I don't do that. Like, David does, I don't. I would much rather, for me, the reason is that I'm confident in my ability to just slowly work through the model, and I can always paint over something if I don't like the effect, right? So I don't care if I have to repaint. I'm pretty confident most times that I won't have to repaint, as long as I kind of start on it and go slow. Grab some black here. I think I have dragon black over here somewhere. Yeah, I'll do dragon black instead of pure black. Dragon black is a cold black. But yeah, the thing is about the whole coloring it in on your iPad thing, one, I don't have an iPad. And two, even if I did, I would consider it a waste of time. The only thing that keeps us from just jumping into the model in that case is just fear. And that's not something we want to encourage. Like fear stopping us from doing stuff. So for me, I'm just going to jump in. Understand that acrylic paint covers over itself really well. It's not like the time that you waste making a mistake and having to recolor a part with paint is nowhere near the amount of time that you're going to spend screwing around on your iPad trying to put colors in my opinion. But if it's part of your process and it gets you creative to do that, then it's worth it. But it doesn't for me. It doesn't. I would always much rather be putting actual paint on the actual figure. But I know, like, Derek likes to do color sketches. You know, David likes to do... There's some really good painters who like to do color sketches before they paint. So you are in good company should you choose to go there. Do not be dissuaded because I do not do it. But yeah, I'm very... I've grown quite aggressive in looking at what I do day to day and figuring out where my time wasters are, and that sort of thing, for me, would very much be a time waster. It would be me delaying actually starting the project. It's like when you want to do something and you read all about the thing that you want to do, but then you never actually do it. It's like that. So if doing a color sketch inspires you to take action on the paint job, then you're great. But if you find that you're messing around with the color sketch and you never actually paint the model, then it's time to ask your question, do I really need to be doing these color sketches? Or is it just another way for me to avoid actually putting my skin in the game? Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, just because somebody says you can do something doesn't mean it's going to be right for you, even if it's right for them, right? That's why I always say you guys should question what I do, and why I try to give you guys different examples of techniques, including things like we just talked about that I don't do, but that other people have good success with. It really just very much depends on what kind of brain you've got. Just putting this black down here as a dark shadow underneath there. Let me get this out of here because it makes everything darker. I think I'm going to do a little bit of red in the dark background there. I have to get that Kiki out on her walk fast after stream today. Got errands to run, and then I have a webinar to watch that I registered for. It's a webinar on running when you're over 50. And I decided I would treat myself to it today. They don't record it, so I have to watch it when it's live. I think that's just to get people to commit. All right, so I'm going to make these panels. I think I'm going to split them. I'm going to go black to the front, red to the back, because the cape here, although this little tassel here, I think that's going to be red, so maybe not. Let's see if there are tassels on both sides here. So the tassel can be red, and that can break it up. So always think about alternating colors, right? As much as you can. If you forced to like take a black leather strap over a black surface, then you know it's just the way it is. You just got to use highlights and shading then to pull those apart visually, but alternate as much as you can. Do we have a tassel? We do not have a tassel on the other side. Although there is a gold border on this cape, so I'm not as, that makes it not as fraught. Because if the cape was just the cape, then it would just be black versus black. But now I know there's going to be a gold rim around the cape, so I can go this way. So this is just me just kind of methodically, like going around, slowly blocking in things, alternating things. The fact that everything is edged in gold and he's very full of bling helps a lot. Because then you've always got that gold border between your black and your black and your, you know, red and your red. If you're forced to overlap. At least with his tassels. Yeah, he's plenty fancy overall, but he is very much tassel fancy, only on one side. I am going to have to go brown with some of the leather. I think I'm going to go with a very orangey leather on this one, even though it's kind of fraught because it could clash with the red. But again, I've got a lot of gold in here, so some of the leather I think I can go that way with. This big belt, I think I'm going to go black with though, because it's, I think I can do it. It's got big gold medallions on it. So I'll block this in, and then I'll put the medallions back on in white. Just because I want some black in the middle here, cutting up the part this red. So I still want that color scheme to be primarily black and red. Black and red is a very flashy color scheme. I used to know a guy who did a whole Empire Army in black, red, and gold, and it was a very simple color scheme, but it looked amazing on the table. Technically, this will be a red, yellow, blue scheme, although it's only going to be red and yellow. I could use some bluish gray highlights on the black and bring that blue into the equation if I wanted. So there is some space under the belt that's also going to be black, but that's all right. I'm pretty sure that that's just going to not even affect the overall color scheme. And since it's really just little details falling into shadow, I'm not too concerned if it overlaps there. Supposed to go running tonight. Going to wait until it cools down in the evening, I think. It's annoying because I like to go right after supper, but was just going to be too hot. Sure that I've got a nice solid coat here. See a little flake of plastic clinging to this pouch. I'm gonna probably have to use my knife on that. There it is. Oh, no. Just this little thread of plastic that does not want to come off. I'm going to take my white and I'm going to bring these little big flat decorations back. Underpainting with white means that when I come to put the gold on these, it's going to show up against the black a lot better. Whereas if I try to paint my gold base coat over the top of this black, it will be harder to make it stand out. There are times when you would want to leave that like more, like if it was all in shadow, then you'd leave everything black and you'd just, you know, bring the gold up with spot highlights. But since this is in the front of the model, I don't really want to do that. And this little gold doodad is cute. I'm gonna just get that in white just so I don't forget it. We're gonna have all steel up here and then probably brass / gold for the big boar's head, and same with the sky up top, and steel here. Going to use my black as a bit of a liner here to separate the cloak from everything else, or the coat, the cape. I have to decide on pants because I have to decide on boots. And his boots are very annoying. They've got the boot covers and then the boot and then this big cuff, and it's like, all right, what's what? So you have to almost use two colors for the boots. I think that I'm going to use the black. If I do brown for the boot, I can use black for the pants. Then I can use black for the boot covers. Could do that either way, depends on how you want to do it. It's for personal preference, I just want more black, less brown. I'm going to choose the option that gives me more black. And I'd only, as you guys know, I almost always just paint in sections, but with a model that's complicated like this one, I will base coat most of the model before I start section painting because I need to work out that color scheme. I may do color metallics or shaded metallics on this one. Usually I would do NMM because the boar's head has a lot of details, but there's a lot of metal on this guy. And they're big sections. So I'm still tossing it around in my head. It'll be a lot harder to bring out all the small details if I do shaded metallics. I will have to be very aggressive with my shading if I choose to do that. If you aren't very aggressive with your shading with true metallics, doing a model like this that has a lot of fancy bits, you won't be able to actually like show any details. Like everything will just look like shiny metallic. So you've got to be aggressive with your shading. You must shade down pretty extremely and take your shadows pretty matte. Otherwise, you're just going to have solid bling, and you're not going to be able to see any of the details, which is frustrating. That's why most people would do NMM on this figure, so that all of those intricate little details on the mug and the bores and the dagger and the metal, all that would come out better with NMM. But because of that, I am tempted to try metallics on it. The one thing, by the way, about those Army Painter metallics that I wish they had given us a white. I don't know if it's possible with aluminum flake. I guess you could just use the raw aluminum flake as your white. But it's not quite white, you know. It's close. It's close. You guys are all busy today on your Friday. Nobody wants to chat. Ah, nice. You're not busy, Rain. So I'm also going to do a heavy black shadow on the underside of this boots, the rims, the upper cuffs. To just make those disappear. Yeah, sure, right, Zachariah. Hey, whatever works. I can just be here in my own little lonesome self. I'm sleepy anyway. That's why I'm feeling it. That's why I'm feeling the no chat, because I'm sleepy and I need you guys to keep me awake. CrossFit was evil because on Tuesday they made us do pull-ups and strict press, which is putting the barbell above your head so your arms feel like noodles after that workout. Mine were noodles. Very achy, very, very painful noodles. And then last night we had push press in the workout. Like 75 of the suckers. And I was like, ugh. My poor little arms today are just like not there. They're just like, we're checking out. Do something with the legs instead. Oh, I do. I use a band now, but I used to do the jumping ones, Jacariah. That's because it's all scaled, right? It's all everything in CrossFit is scaled. So before, all I could do was the jumping pull-ups, which is pretty much exactly what it sounds like. You jump so that your chin's over the bar, and then you try to catch yourself a little bit and at least catch a little resistance on the way down, so you can build the muscle. But it's kind of not ideal because like it's not an ideal scale because usually with workouts where you have pull-ups, you also have a lot of leg stuff, right? Because the pull-ups are meant to be the arm stimulation. So if you're using your legs to jump for the pull-ups, then you're using your legs for everything else in the workout. It gets kind of fraught. So I was very happy that now I can actually use a band to do assisted pull-ups, and it was brutal. I struggled for them. 5 sets of 7. Gotta put a little black back here. There's belt stuff going on back there. Alright, so there. So I've got black, 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 black. Now I need to get the cape. Well, I mean, we do arm stuff, but just having both the strict press as the strength component, and then having the pull-ups, and then having push press as a cardio component on the 2 days later is a lot. It's a lot of arms. So, like everything from here, biceps, triceps especially are killing me today. Shoulder, back of shoulder, scapula. It's all like and the lats. It's all, and the trapezius. They're all like no. They're all like noping out. They're like, you better rest us before Saturday, they say. But I think my Saturday is like rows and squats, so I should be okay. It's not heavy. There may be some push-ups in there though. Yeah, they're just spaghetti arms. They're very hurty. Even though I took a muscle relaxer, because I was just like I hurt all over. Now I just have to give them lots of protein today so they can rebuild. All right, again I think I'm gonna maybe I will avoid that. No, I guess I won't avoid the gold sections, or I will avoid the gold sections. I was just gonna paint over them, but the fact is there's one in the inner as well as the outer part of this cape here. Just going to do a quick, really brutal, kind of clunky line here. But yeah, I'm just happy I can do pull-ups with a band now. I feel like I'm getting closer to my goal to actually being able to do a pull-up. Though I think I'll have to lose 50 pounds before I can. And I have to take Kiki for a walk, and she's going to pull. So all my arms are going to be like, oops, I blacked myself. I put my finger right on what I just painted. Can tell I'm tired when that happens. So we'll paint right over that. So you see the red has dulled out a little bit since it's dried, and that's just because of that extra dragon red I put in there. It's gonna, it already wants to darken as it dries because it's an acrylic, but when you add that little bit of dark red into your heraldic red, it'll take it down a notch, so it's not really eyeball screaming red. That's what I want, From here I can shade down and highlight up. I'll probably do some red design on this, since the cape's going to be black, but I want to bring the red in. But I'm going to paint it all black first. The biggest, nastiest thing about like hot days is that I just don't want to eat. Like my appetite just totally tanks. And then I go and work out. And it just was not, it was not the best thing. I was debating, guys, canceling my stream tomorrow. Except that I have to cancel it next weekend, so I guess I'll keep doing it. It's just, with the party thing that we're going to on Sunday, I don't feel like I'm going to get a weekend. Usually I make up for working a lot on Saturday by being, relaxed on Sunday, but this time it ain't gonna be. It's not gonna be possible. But I don't want to lose 2 weeks in a row on streaming. Is anybody else like that, where it's like, I'm going to a party, it ought to be fun, and it ought to feel like a day off, but it's not going to feel like a day off. It never seems to. I'm just going to block in some of this in black, in the shadow, because there's some just projection stuff that's not anything else than a support for the arm here. So I'm going to paint it black so that it disappears. Yeah, I do some fun stuff on Saturdays, Crowley. Yeah, I know, Quindy, I know. I just, I feel bad. I'm just like, I should take it off, though. I know if I don't, like, it's just I'm gonna feel frustrated on Monday, because I'm not gonna have had time to myself to do things. Because that party is in Napa. Like, that's an hour and 45 drive each way. So we're going to be blowing 4 hours on our Sunday just in travel time through the city. Alright, there's a mass of metal. See that metal? It's just like all metal here. That's without any parties, huh? Yeah, parties take energy. Plus, this is going to be a party that's for, like, painters and stuff, right? This is a hobby party. Michael Kleiman is throwing it. They have a pizza oven in their backyard that they built. And he's going to be doing pizza for everybody. I'm going to be doing a non-tomatoey pizza, but I'm going to let myself have a gluten crust. I bought pesto for my pizza. But yeah, so it's hard to do the painting parties lately because I haven't been painting a lot and I haven't been teaching, like I've been doing a little bit of stuff on my own, but it's not stuff I want to like really share because again, I want it to be without strings, so I don't want to flash it around at people because that just puts strings on it. The minute anyone else is aware of my own personal project, I feel like there's obligations attached to it. Bye, Crowley. So it'll be a party with like, people asking about, if I'm teaching or if I'm doing whatever, and it's going to be like, nope, I haven't been doing much hobby stuff, except for the thing I can't share with you. No, I'm skipping Adepticon, that kind of thing. But I like Michael, and I really, and we get to bring Kiki. So I'm going to go, and hopefully it won't be too bad. Sometimes, though, I feel like people who are, like, really, really, really wrapped up in the hobby, when you tell them you haven't been hobbying lately, they kind of stop, like they're a deer in headlights. Like, oh my god, what do I talk about now? I'm not gonna, no. It's not, no. It's just that I'm not willing to share that project, Zachariah, with anybody. Doesn't matter. There's nothing. I haven't been painting. I've been working on my running, and I've been working on my writing. Like, I can't work on all those things and painting. But yeah, when you tell people who are like all into the hobby that you're doing other things, a lot of times you get that deer in headlights look where they're just like, they don't know what to talk to you about then. Yeah. Yeah, I may just take the day off then, Quindy. Yeah, I do mention it and they get the look. Yeah, I had that happen at Kubla Khan. Like, that's why at Kubla Khan I went and I spent like 2 hours with my friend Sue Wachowski, who was out there just for hobby stuff. But she was also a writer. So I essentially went and sat with them, and Sue and I just talked writing constantly. We didn't talk painting. Hardly at all. No, I really don't like doing that, Derek. Thanks for the suggestions, but it's not my party. It's for all the people. It's a party for people who taught at Kubla Khan. The only reason I'm going is actually as David's +1. So yeah, I'm not gonna like, they want to talk about hobbying. I'm not gonna like do that. And I'm just kind of mentally preparing myself for the fact that I have nothing to contribute on the hobby front because I've been working on stuff. I'll tell people that I'm, about to put out book 3 and I'll be excited about it. But I just know there's going to be some of those people who are just like, Or, the other thing you get if you're like me, and Jennifer gets this all the time and I really feel for her. But, when you have been a name in the hobby, or really famous like Jen, and then you have to take a step back from it, whether for health reasons because Jennifer or because, I'm just prioritizing other things, you still get that look, right? You get that. There's almost, and a lot of the pressure may be imagined, but people are like disappointed, right? Because you were one of the names. But it's not like I've stopped painting. It's more that I just, in order to get back my love of painting, I have to just not even, like, David's the only one who gets to see my new thing that I'm working on. And I have to remind him every time he, like, looks at it. He's like, you could. And I'm like, or I could just do what I want. And he's like, oh, I know. Because he wants to, like, he's just like, oh, if you were doing this for competition, you'd. And I'm like, but I'm not. I've reminded him enough now. So it's just a weird thing. It's a weird thing that happens. But then you have to question, was I doing this because I actually enjoy it, or was I doing it because I felt obligated to do it, right? Obviously, I still enjoy painting. And I enjoy painting with you guys, and I like doing this show a lot because I like doing the interactivity of it. But it is still work, yeah. Oh no, if it's done, you'll see it. But I won't show it to anybody. And I may not show it to you guys. I don't know. Depends. Depends on how it turns out. Depends on if I finish it. Depends on whatever. But I'm not going to obligate myself to do anything, right? It's not. This is painting without strings, guys. Painting without strings means that when you feel like it, you sit down and you paint just for the pure joy of it, only for yourself, with no recriminations, no expectations, no I shoulds, none of that crap. Kick it out the door. Throw it out of your life. It doesn't belong with your hobby. You're only doing it because this is your hobby and you enjoy it. And it doesn't matter. You're not going to enter in a competition. Or if you do, who cares? But that's not part of it. There's no string there. No strings. No competition, no expectation, no nothing. No shoulds. No other people telling you how you could improve it or not improve it. Yeah, bye, Splat. Yeah, I know. I still contribute a lot. Right. Yeah, and if I wasn't, I would feel sad, right? If I wasn't contributing still to the hobby, because it means a lot to me. But at the same time, there's all these expectations, right? It's just been a thing I've noticed lately is all. I'm really grateful that you guys, are not just into, the Anne that paints on stream, but a lot of you also have read my books, and you're supportive of my exercise stuff, and, that means a lot to me, because, yeah, a lot of people, they just don't care, right? Shouldn't have done that. It's not fed up, Rain, but it's fed up with myself and the fact that for much of my life I've been letting myself. I've been essentially changing my behavior to match other people's expectations. A lot of us do it. It's human because in the old days, if we got kicked out of the tribe, we died. So a lot of us have that, right? And a lot of what originally powered my mini painting was wanting to get good, wanting to get the admiration of my peers, right? Wanting to be on that upper level. But I have come to the conclusion after many years, and this is true of my writing as well, that I am the best me when I just don't give two twigs about that. I think I've mentioned I had a writer friend who told me that I shouldn't waste my time on East of the Sun because first novels were never any good anyway. But if I had, jettisoned that project, it just would have gutted me, right? So my life has been this constant trail of slowly getting to the point where I just don't give a crap about other people's expectations anymore. Yeah. Thanks, Zachariah. Yeah. Younger Anne was, screwed up. But yeah, so it's less, the emotion that I feel, Rain, is less fed up, more fired up. But I'm fired up on my own behalf. Because I'm excited about the fact that I have gotten to the point where I can honestly just tell those people just, in my head, just screw off. Where I can go to this party, and if people just don't get it, I'm just going to shrug and go, well, I'm having a great time. And I'm a lot stronger than I was, and I'm a lot happier than I was. And I'm starting to get my love of my hobby back because, no strings, I'm a lot less stressed this last month or two because I started the no strings thing. Every time I feel that tension, that stress come back in, I just boot it. I'm just doesn't matter. Guess what? We're going to get it done. Doesn't matter if we didn't get it done today. Doesn't matter. Yeah. Oh, I was a very much a nonconformist. I had a boyfriend who was a huge nonconformist in high school, Rain. So part of me has always kind of been that way. But part of me also likes the acclaim that comes with performing high end performance in line with expectation, right? And to be honest, most of the expectation, I think most of my realization and breakthrough is just that most of the expectation is my own. Most of the stress I put on me is because of me. It's coming from me. It's not any of you. I'm the problem. It's me. Thanks, Taylor. Because, most other people, you guys, you're always really supportive. You're always like, yeah, do what you want. When it comes down to it, most of the world doesn't care. So I should just do what makes sense to me. Like, if I do these workouts now, I'll be able to paint without pain for a lot more years. That's a win. There we go. I think we're getting there, guys. We're getting our red and black. A red and black bling. Yeah, I think I'm going to make the steel really dark. And then make the gold bright. I think. That's kind of where I'm going right now. Kind of where I'm sitting. Yeah, that's exactly it, Sam. If you come into something with no expectations, then you can have fun with it. But it's very hard for many of us to divorce ourselves from those expectations. Especially if you've always been a bit of an overachiever, which I always was. I've got this thing from my dad where, I don't do a thing. I don't really throw myself into a thing usually unless I sense that I can be good at it. Or I try to be good at anything that I do. It's very much in line with my dad and his personality. And a lot of the times it'll keep me motivated, but sometimes it turns on its head and it gets poisonous. But yeah, it's just come down to like showing things. When I'm doing a personal thing for me, a personal project for me, I'm trying to figure out if there's a shirt in here, guys, down underneath these plates. I think it's plates, but maybe not. Yeah, I think it is plates. It's all plates around his arms. That is, I'm trying to figure out what's what so I know what to paint what. I feel like there is a little shirt here, though. Oh, well. Let's get this, I want to see if this sword actually fits. Yeah. Not too bad. I'll have to flex it a little bit. That's the nice thing about this material is I can bend it a little bit and make everything go together. Alright. So, yeah. Right. But a lot of people have expectations for themselves, right? Either because other people have given it to them, or like society, wanting us to be good at things. When we start, don't bother with it if you're not good, you're immediately good at it, which is BS. We know that. But yeah, along the road of becoming like a well-known miniature painter, a lot of me like sharing my work with people became like it just took a little bit of enjoyment away from me because it introduced expectations. Because when you show something to someone, you want a positive result. So that's why I'm just like totally striking back against that lately. I'm just like, I'm going to paint this thing. If I like how the thing turns out, maybe people will see it. If I don't care. It's not going to be to competition level if I don't feel like it is, and it probably won't. Like, I've been saying for a while now that I want, if I just sat down and just painted all the models, sitting in my closet, just started churning through them with my normal paint job, it would still be better than the vast majority of paint jobs on that model on the planet, right? It wouldn't be like jaw-dropping competition material, but it would be okay, right? It'd be okay. Okay-ish. I want to be an okay-ish painter. I aspire to being an okay-ish painter. Yeah, right. I'm sure there's something underneath. Sam. Yeah. Cool, Turgeon. You have a good weekend too. Yeah, I think I'm gonna cancel tomorrow, guys. We'll have 2 weeks off. 2 weeks off. Sorry. I'll miss you, but I'll be able to regenerate more energy this way. Alrighty. I'm just looking around to see if I think I've got everything, and it's 1:15. So I should get Kiki out on her walk. But yeah, I think we all have to just figure out where our happy spot is. A lot of us are motivated by sharing our work with others, and that's cool. I have ceased to have that. I no longer am motivated by that. It actually has reversed itself in my head. I've realized that. And in realizing that, now I can, I know it, so now I can work with that. I can essentially say, all right, then the answer for that is not to share my personal stuff until it's done. Yeah. I know. I still it's time where the problem is we're missing time. We're missing time to work on pugling, guys. Pugling. Fender needs to be painted. I need to at least get his little pugling bits done before ReaperCon. So I guess in August. In August we'll be just doing the push to try to get more and more Fender done for Jason. He is cute. Yeah. But yeah, so maybe I'll find some other time to work on pugling. Thank you all for coming along. On Monday, we are back to Hairfolk. And I think we're getting close to done. We've got to do the gold and the sword. I actually like him. He's loud, but I like him a lot. So we'll do this, and then after him, we'll be working on one of the other little simple figures from when the Bones USA came out. Or 3D print, or whatever. We'll either work on Torch Girl or Dwarf Cleric, and I really like Dwarf Clerics, so, enough said, really. Plus, we are working on a Torch Guy, so I don't want to do Torch Girl and Torch Guy at the same time. Thank you, everybody. Yes, thank you all. Thanks for the support. Yeah, take care, everybody. And Quindy, thanks. I will see you guys on... Yeah, I like Dwarf Clerics. That was my favorite class. That's my WoW. My original WoW character was there. So, all right. I will see you on Monday then. All right, everybody? I hope you have a great weekend, too. Bye-bye.